Yes guys, so today in JavaScript we will do the DOM manipulation. Now as we have studied HTML, okay, so let me know once you are able to see my paint screen guys. Visible? So what happens in DOM? What is DOM actually? It's called as document object model. It's a hierarchical structure or tree structure. So whatever HTML elements I make, so starting from the HTML, behind the scenes a DOM tree structure is converted. Okay, so now my outer element is HTML, so this is my document. So if you see, you have a doc over here. So this is my document. So one root element has been created in my DOM tree. So in the red I am forming my DOM tree. And this is my HTML elements in the black. So as you prepare the HTML document, behind the scenes a document object model tree is been made of each of the elements which we are using in the document. So the two childs of HTML are head and body. So in simple data structure terms, now we will say this tree has two childs. Okay, the head and the body. So this is my HTML element, and then this is my head, and as they are both child of the HTML, they will be on the same level in the tree. So this is called level in a tree. Okay, so these are called levels in a tree. So the root will be at level 0. This is level 0, and now these two are at level 1. Okay, so root will always be at level 0, and then the child of root will be at level 1. So at level 1 we have the head and the body. Now if in the head I put the title or whichever tag, script tag, style tag, whatever type you put, title, okay, and here you put a title. Okay, so now this will become the child of head. That is my title. Okay, so like this, for every form, every page which we make, behind the scenes a DOM tree is being constructed. So in the head, if I go and say h1, and if I say welcome to Facebook, and here if I make a p tag, your shopping destination, what will happen now? These two will go and become the children of the body. So like this, a structure which is made, tree structure, that is called as the DOM tree. So how to manipulate this DOM tree is a very critical task of a JavaScript. So among all the tasks of JavaScript, one of its very major task is to manipulate the DOM. Okay, so this is my h1 and this is my p. Okay, so this is how behind the scenes Java will create a DOM tree. So once you have this tree, you can take access of this tree in your JavaScript and try to manipulate it. That is called as DOM manipulation. So what we can do is, in the body, let's say we'll have a script tag, and the purpose of DOM manipulation is we can take access of any of the DOM tree component. Okay, we have methods over here by which we can target any particular element and take the access of that into the JavaScript and try to manipulate it. So let's say if I want to take access of this h1 element, okay, so I have a method called as document.getElement by tag name. Get element by tag name. And which tag name? h1. This will give me access of all the h1s in my DOM tree. So this will give me a array. So the array which the document.getElement by tag name will return is called as node list. Okay, that is called as node list. So I will say h1 elements. So now in this variable, let's say call it const. So now in this h1 elements, this is an array. Okay, there is a collection called as node list, okay, which is a subset of array. So if an array has, let's say, 20 methods, I had shown you all the 20 methods of array last time, then the node list will have, let's say, 4 methods. So it is a limited version of an array. Okay, so we have the length method over here also, we have length method over here also. But the other method which the array has, push, pop, shift, unshift, okay, these are not there in the node list. So it is more or less like a restricted form of an array. So it will scan the entire DOM tree, and wherever it will get h1, it will add it to this array list. So now this h1, this blue color h1 is over here, right? So right now I have only one h1 element. So off by this h1 elements, only the 0 index is populated now. And at the 0 index, I am having access of this h1. So if I want to manipulate it, I can do the manipulation in the JavaScript. So if I will say h1 elements of 0, so 0 means this h1 which is there has come at 0 index, which has text as welcome to Facebook. If I would have more h1 elements, they would come at index 1, index 2. Now of that 0 index, I am changing the Okay, so whenever we write a HTML tag, I had told you in the starting, this is called as opening tag, and this is called as closing tag, and this is called as inner HTML. You have three components which form a HTML element. Okay, so this was my opening tag, closing tag, and my inner HTML. So what do I want to change of that? I want to change the inner HTML. So I will say set the inner HTML from saying welcome to Facebook to say Facebook welcomes you. So now as I run my code, you will see that the text which is welcome to Facebook will change to Facebook welcomes you. Let's try to do it practically. Okay, shout out once you see my VS code. Is my VS code visible to everyone? Yes, guys. So JavaScript, let's make a folder day 5. Okay, and I'll make a file dom demo.html. Okay. So see, this document has been made. So if I go to the body and say h1, what did I write previously? Welcome to Facebook. And I wrote a p tag. Your one-stop shopping destination. Okay, now I run this code. So if you observe over here, this page has opened, and if I inspect this, you will see the DOM tree. When I inspect this, you go to the elements and it shows you the DOM tree. HTML, the two child of HTML is head and body. Okay, so I'll just keep this in parallel with this. Okay, so HTML and two child of HTML are head and body. If I expand the body, then the two child of body are the h1 and the p tag. Okay, so as I hover on it, it is highlighting that element. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll take excess of this in the okay, so just pay attention over here. So now I'll take excess of this h1 in my script tag. Okay, now try to understand this. This is what I was telling you all by DOM manipulation. So in the script tag, I will say I want to read the h1 element. I'll take in a variable h1 elements, and I will say document dot get element by tag name. Which tag name? h1. Now if I console.log the h1 element, you will see that it has got me a node list. If you go to the console, see it has got me HTML collection. Okay, and has got only one element over here. Okay, this is called an HTML collection. So has got only one H1. If I would have two H1s, welcome to Facebook, welcome to Amazon. Now if I do a control S, now you see this HTML element has two H1s. If I expand them at 0, I have, if you go and check the inner HTML, you will see everything over here. Okay, see node list, it's a node list, and you will get, see, this is the inner HTML, also called as inner text. Okay, so now I want to manipulate the first one. So first one is there in the 0 index, so I will say the H1 element of 0 of that inner HTML I want to change to apple. Now as I do a control S, you will see it has changed to apple over here. Okay, got it? Okay, so like this, if you want to change the text of all the H1s, so as we have got a collection, so we can iterate through that. So instead of doing it individually like this, if I say to the first change apple, to the second change mango, if I do control S, okay, both have become, okay, should have done this over here. So see, first becomes apple and second becomes mango. I could have also iterated through that. So you could have done for let I equals to 0, I less than, this will have the length element, right? Length function it will have, dot length, then I plus plus, and now if I say H1 element of I dot inner HTML equals to Facebook, so both will be changed to Facebook because my loop is working. Okay, so you can manipulate the inner HTML, you can also manipulate the CSS. So if you want to manipulate the CSS, see how many ways we can do it. So you can have style dot background, so you can say this dot style dot, now whichever style you want, let's say I want to change the background color, okay, and then you can set the background color to whichever color. Let's say I want to set it to yellow, so I can give over here like this. So where is my, so now as I type over here, see background color has turned to yellow of both the Facebook, because I'm doing it in a loop, right? So like this we can take excess of our HTML elements into JavaScript and then manipulate them. That is called as your DOM manipulation. Okay, so if you want the H1 which are at the odd even index to be yellow and which are there at the odd index to be red, so we can put a if condition over here. If I mod with 2 equal to 0 means it is even, so make it yellow, else make the background color as red. So it will become apple mango back and red mango. So if I add one more H1 over here, okay, welcome to Amazon, Flipkart, Mantra. So it will become yellow, red, yellow. Okay guys, okay, if you want to target, now if you observe over here, these three are all inside the h1. Okay, if I make one more div, if I make a div, now where will this div go? Okay, now this h1 get element by tag name will search for all the h1s irrespective how deep it is nested, irrespective however deep it is nested in your document, however deep it is nested in your document, it will fetch from there. So see, if I do Control S, so irrespective how much deep it is there in a document, it will fetch all your h1s which are directly a part of the document, which are part of this div, and then inside this div, inside that. Okay, so if I have to draw the document tree for this, how will I draw it? So I have three h1s. If I have to draw the document tree, for your understanding I'm drawing it. Okay, so how will this look like? In the body we are having h1, h1 and h1, three h1s, and after 3 h1 we are having a p tag, h1, h1, h1 and a p tag, and after the p we are having a div. So you have to be careful as to how you visualize these things. We are having a div, and in that div we are having one more h1. So this h1 is a child of this div. Now one more level has, so these were at level 2 now, and now again level 3 also has come. So in level 3 we have of this div. Okay, so let me write it down for you guys. So this is h1 displaying Facebook. This is the h1 which is displaying Amazon. This is the h1 displaying Mintra, and this is the p which is showing your shopping. And after that we have a div. So let's say, to uniquely identify the div, we'll give a id to each div. This is my first div. So now whatever div you are seeing over here is my first div whose id is first div. Okay, now in that first div id I have again h1 which is showing XLR. And then it is again having a div which I'll give id as second div. Okay, so it is having one more. So this h1 is having one more div, and I will call this div as id equals to second. So these are both child of the h1 and the second div are both child of this div. In the second div again we have a h1. So again the tree is expanding to the next level also. So this is again a h1 which is having FSD. So when I get the element by tag name, and which tag name have I searched for? h1, right? It will look for all the h1 irrespective however deep it is. So it will go and find h1. So we'll pick this at h1, we'll pick this h1, we'll pick this h1, we'll pick this h1, we'll pick this h1. So and put it in the collections array now. Put it in the collection. So now my collection will be of size 5. Now my collection will be of size 5. 1, 2, 3, blah blah blah, right? And each element will come over there. Okay. So now it will be of size 5 because now I have 5 h1s. And then I am iterating through each of the h1s, and for all the odd I am giving color as yellow. So this will become yellow, this will become yellow, this will become yellow. That is the FB is index 0, right? It will become yellow. Mantra is at index 2, will become yellow, and FSD is at index 4, will become yellow because they are even, and odd will become red. Amazon will become red and XLR will become red. Okay. So Amazon will become red and XLR will become red. If I go and check it, see over here, Apple, Myntra and FSD are yellow. Okay. This is changed to Apple, no? This Facebook I have changed to Apple. So if I would have not written them, if I would have commented this out, it would have shown me over here. Facebook, Myntra and FSD have become yellow. Facebook, Myntra and FSD, and Amazon and XLR have become red. Like this. So if you want to target a particular one, let's say I want to target only those h1 which are directly a part of the body, I want to target those h1 only. Okay. So for that we have various other options. I'll show you. Okay. So these are the query selector. So you can also target individual also. So if I give them an ID, if I give all the h1s an ID, if I give the h1s a ID, okay, so let me give the h1s an ID. I'm back. So let's give each of the h1 an ID. So let's give this one as an ID. Okay, FBH1. Let's give this as an ID. Amazon H1 as an ID. If these are two words, you can separate them by a hyphen. Okay, so you can give the ID like this. So now if I want to target a particular H1, only this H1 I want to target, not all. So I can fetch it by the ID also. Okay, so I can write over here const Amazon heading. Okay, and I can say document dot get element by ID. You see over here, and then I have to give the ID name over here. So this will give me one single element. This will not give me a list. This will give me one single element now. Okay, so now my Amazon heading is pointing to this DOM element, and now I can manipulate it whatever I want to do with it. So I can say change the inner HTML to Amazon India, change the styling Amazon heading dot style dot add. Okay, so let's say I want to change the font family to Arial. So now if I go and do a Control S, only this particular H1 is impacted, not all. Let's try to check it out. See over here, only this was impacted, Amazon India, and font has changed to Arial. If you want to change the color, you can change it. Okay, dot style dot BGC. Okay, you can say light pink, and you can also say dot style dot color if you want to change the color to blue. So now if I do a Control S, see, background changes to light pink and the foreground changes to blue of this particular element only. That is by document by ID. Okay, so this document which I have covered shows all the various ways of selecting a document. So you can say get element by ID, get element by tag name, I showed you. Then there is a third which is the most versatile, which is QuerySelector. This can be used for to fetching everything. So QuerySelector you can use to fetch everything, whether you are doing by ID or you are doing by class name, whatever, we can use QuerySelector. Okay, so this was the paragraph, so there is no styling to the paragraph yet. So let me fetch this paragraph now. So what I'll do is I'll say para element and document dot query selector. Okay, so if I want to fetch by the ID of the paragraph, so if this paragraph has an ID, let's say ID equals to shop para. Okay, so if there is a ID called as shop para, so if I fetch, so whenever you fetch by ID you have to give a hash like we had given in CSS. So now this will work as get element by ID. So QuerySelector can work, is a very versatile one, it can fetch all. So para element document dot QuerySelector, and I am selecting this one, and it will give me only one because there will be only one element by a particular ID. Okay, so if you have two words separated by a hyphen. Okay, so QuerySelector shop para, Now this paragraph element access I have got in this variable. Now I can manipulate it over here. I can manipulate it. Okay. So one way is you can add the styles individually, or you can write the styles in a class and set the class directly. Okay. Or you can otherwise say like this, dot set property. Okay. So I have made a documentation for you guys. See over here how many ways we can set the styles. So whatever element you have got, and directly you can say set property. So directly you can say set property, and here you can give the styles whichever you want to give. Okay. So and commas. So if I want to give a background color and green, let's say we're running out of colors, so do a control S and let's check if this should have turned to green. It's saying background color is not defined. Should have given a single quotes. Should have given the key and value as single quotes. Set property is not a function. Set property is okay. Style dot set property. You have to use what? Style dot set property. And now let's check. What happened? Okay, you have to write the style as a kebab case. To write the style as a kebab case. So wherever there is a capital, you have to give a separate comma like this. So it will work as a kebab case, the set property. And now see, it has worked. You can set the property like this also using set property. A third way is, what you can do is, you can go to your head part and write your styles and then give any style name. So you can say shopping. This is a class, right? So make a class by the name shopping para and give all the styles over there. You want the background color of that to be aqua, and you want the color to be beige. You want the font family to be Courier. You want the font size to be 18 pixels. You want the font style to be italic. So now you have made a class shopping paragraph. Now you can directly set this as a attribute to them. Once you have the access of that DOM element in your JavaScript variable, you can directly add this class only over there. Para element dot class list dot add. Okay, directly you can say class list dot add dot class list dot add, and which class to add? Shopping para. Okay, so now once I add that, see the difference what happens as I do a save. What happened? Para element dot class list dot add. Yes, div element dot class list dot add and the name of the class. Yes, correct. Para element I have got over here. Of that I am adding a class list. I number 51. Why? Okay, I should have declared this no first. I should have declared this. Cannot read properties of undefined DOM demo para element document.querySelector. So we have a shop para ID. I fetch that, I put into my JavaScript variable, and then after that we have a style shopping area. To this para element I do a class list, okay, capital L dot add, okay, there's a capital L over there. And which class am I adding? Shopping area. Do a control S. Now see that style it has picked from here, okay. Not able to see, not able to view the color. Change the color to something which can be read. Yellow also not visible. Okay, so all these styles, courier new 18 pixel, want to increase the size, you get 28 pixel, size will increase. So once you have the element access in JavaScript, you can do whatever manipulation you want to that. You want to change the inner HTML, whatever you wish you can do. Now it is written over there, your one-stop shopping destination. Okay, if you want to change the inner HTML, you can say shop here and do a control S C. So all these things can be easily manipulated with the help of JavaScript. Okay, if I want to change the text when I click on it, so we have event handling also. Okay, so you have event handling also. So right now text is again reverted to your one-stop shop. So when I click on this, your one-stop shop destination, where is that? Over here. So I will give a on click. Okay, and on click I will call a function. Let's say I will call a function toggle text. Okay, whatever you want to give function name is up to you. Okay, or toggle para text, whatever name you want to give. Okay, so now this is a function I have called over here. Okay, so this function should be there now. So how to write a function in JavaScript? Come inside over here and write a function okay. What it will do now, let's put it down over here because below we have got the access, no? And let has global scope, means it is declared over here, it can be accessed over here. Then I will change the, so I will read, okay, let's try to do it over here only. Let's check everything over here. Okay, shop here. Okay, now I save this, it revert back to my original, your one-stop shopping destination. Okay, now as I click on this, now your one-stop shopping destination, as I click on it, it called the function toggle text para text will come over here. It will read that paragraph into my JavaScript variable, add the styling and change the text also. But when will that do? That will do when I click on it. So now when I click on the Facebook, nothing happens. Click on Amazon India, nothing happens. Click on Myntra, nothing happens. But as I click over here, see, it changes the text over there. Getting it? So like this we can manipulate the front end, the behavior of the website we can manipulate. Okay, the same you could have done when you would put the mouse on top. So as you would move the mouse, if you want to do on that event, then you have to change the event over here. Here I used on click event. You could have used another event on mouse enter. We could have used on mouse enter, call the toggle paratext. So now see, again it revert back to original. Now I am just entering that area and my text will change. See, I did not click, I did not do anything. So these are all the event handling which we can do in our DOM manipulation. So this is the actual usage of JavaScript, that whatever element we have, we can manipulate that element. I hope guys are understanding this. If you want to target only these three H1, okay, then you can put them in a class. So you can put them in a class as, let's say, parent H1. Okay, so these three will belong to this class parent H1. So if you want to style only these three, then you can target this class parent H1. And if you want to target this parent H1 class, then you can either use document.get element by class name. Okay, so it will give you all the parent H1s. Okay, parent heading element, you can give any variable name which you want to, and which class are you targeting. You are targeting this class. Okay, so either way you can do by this method, or you can do the same thing using QuerySelector, document.querySelector, and there are multiple things which will be fetched. So use QuerySelectorAll. Use QuerySelector when it will return only one single value, and will return all when it will return your collection. So as it is going to give you multiple records, I will use, and class is always prefixed with a dot. So this will give you the same output over here. So if I console.log, both will give me the same output. Do a control S. Let's go to the browser and check. See, you go to the browser and check, it gives me the output of the line 59 is HTML collection of 3 H1, H1 and H1. Okay, 0, 1, 2, and this also is giving me a H1, 0, 1, 2. Okay, so this is that element by class name is giving me a HTML collection of 3, and this QuerySelectorAll is giving me a node list of 3. Now I can iterate through it. Okay, so if I want to iterate through this, so I had shown you all a way of iteration using for each. You put a for each over here. For each method, come inside in 1 I will have 1 heading. Okay, and of that, whatever heading I want to do, I want to change the inner HTML, change it to test. I do a control save, Okay, so it is not a function for each doesn't work on your HTML collection. You have to convert it from an array. So I have a function called array from array dot from this parent heading element form an array, and then we can do it. Now when I do it, it converts and it changes the text over here. So this was a HTML collection, right? So I made an array from it. So I say array from this HTML collection, and then the for each loop works on the array. So it is iterating through each of these elements and changing its inner HTML. This also has an index as a second parameter. So if you want to change only the odd ones, so you can say if index mod with 2 equal to 1. So this reverts back. This is 0, this is odd, and this is 1. This 0, 1 and 2. So it is only changing the odd one. It is changing the inner HTML. So these are different ways from how you can operate and fetch the data and try to manipulate them. So it will give you a HTML collection. For each method doesn't work on a HTML collection, so you have to convert it into an array. So I say make an array. It's like make an array from this HTML collection. Now once you have got the array, on that for each will work, and then I'm iterating through each one of them. So now see, it will target only these three because I am targeting the parent h1 class, and which are in the part of the parent h1 class. Only these three h1 are part of the parent h1. This h1 and this h1 is not being targeted because it is not a part of that class. Okay. So let's see what next we have in this query selector. So you can target a particular class also. Okay, then you can target the descendants. So if I want to target all the h1 which are part of this div, I want to target all the h1 which are part of the div first div. So if I want to target that, so document.querySelectorAll first. So first I will give the ID of this div. What is the ID of this div? First div. So and I will give ID, means I have to give a hash, and in that I want to target all the h1. So now it will target all the h1s in this div only. Okay, so let's store them in a variable. First div headings, and now if you want to make an array from that, because for each will not work directly on the collection. For each one element will come over here. Let's say element, and what to do of that element. Let's say I want to change the background color to black and the foreground color to foreground color I want to change to pink. Let's check this out now. So should change only for XLR and FSD. This change should take only for XLR and FSD. What happened? Okay, you did not check that, no? You did not write that, no? That element dot style dot of that element you want to change the style, no? Style dot, which is this background color, and element dot style dot. So see, only change for those which are part of that div. So this is called as descendant selector. So choose this div, and of that div, whichever h1 fall in that, only make changes for them only. So it changed the XLR and the FSD. If you want to, so this will target the children and grandchildren, everybody. If you want to target only the immediate children, only the immediate child of the first div, not the grandchildren, then you have to use a greater than sign over here. So this will target only the immediate child, not the grandchildren. So the immediate child of first div is only X. So this setting will apply only to X now. Let's check. I haven't saved it yet. As I save it, see, applies only to the immediate child, not for grandchildren. This is called as child selector. So we have various selectors over here. Okay, descendant selector, then child selector also I showed you. Have to give a greater than sign. So all these you can target. If you are having a input box, okay, I'll show this also to you all. So if in your body you are having an input box, so this is input type is text, password and text. And now if you want to target all those tags which have of type input, so you can target a particular, so you can say input and only for type, those who have the type attribute. Okay, so if there is a input which is not having a type attribute, then it will not target that. So here all the three input are having of type target. So we can check that over here by, let's say, const the input elements. So if you want to target only the input elements, you can say document.querySelector, and you have to use all because there are multiple are going to come. Okay, and then say only the input tag. If you want input tag having attribute as type, so it will target all the input tags which are having attribute as type. So if this is not having a type attribute, this input with third input box will not be targeted. Okay, of that what you want to do, you can change the styles over here. Okay, so whatever text it is having, you can display that on the console. So again I'll have used the same array dot from where input elements dot for each, and one element will come over here. You will give anything you want, ELE, and what you want to do that element. So that element I want to console.log that element's value. Okay, I want to console.log that element's, let's say, ID. I want to console.log that element's ID. So now it will log only two IDs for me. It will only log two IDs, name and password, because the third element is not having the type attribute. And if you want to say I want to only target the type text, so you can do that also. So you can say type equals to text. So this will now target only one single element. See, so you can narrow down your searches. If I just say input, will target all the three because all three are input. But if I want to say input having a type attribute, so I'll say input having a type attribute will now narrow down only the first two because third input is not having a type attribute. And if I say input having a type attribute as text, then it will only target the first one. So these are various ways you can fetch the data from the DOM and manipulate it. See, okay, I have shown you all of the various different permutations.